I'm quite critical. Actually, it was really hard to even get through. I feel it's disingenuous and really kind of offensive in many ways. And here's the first reason. First reason why is that it still includes the TMT, number one. The first rule of Ho'oponopono is you have to remove the injury. So if the mayor intended to have a genuine conversation and one that is not just speaking at people, for people, and letting the people speak for themselves, the first thing you need to do is remove that. Get that concept, which is a pretty basic concept, first. Then get into all the details and start asking those questions. I want to just be really clear. He's asking us to compromise again, while kind of reframing it as if it's not a compromise. But the truth of the matter is, he's asking for us to compromise. He's basically saying, you will do this, and then you're going to go and teach everyone about aloha. It's just irrational, and it clearly demonstrates that he's not understanding the magnitude of the protector's commitment to aloha and to Mauna Kea. And so it seems like he's completely removed, disconnected. And so in that setting, he's not recognizing that the Hawaiian people and their supporters and the public regarding Mauna Kea have been compromised since 1968. It's not that, so it's like, well, why can't we just get along? Why can't you guys just agree? Well, you've been compromising us since 1968. Because even back in the 70s, people were marching on the Capitol and they were holding signs. It's like May Mall and the Audubon Society and the hunters back then were also all holding signs. People think it's only, 2015, 2019. No, in the 70s they held signs that said Mauna Kea belongs to the people. And Mauna Kea does belong to the people. Even the way the land, even the way our kupuna designated land, Mauna Kea had its own designation, kind of as a pu'uhonua, basically. And you can see that in the ancient mo'olelo, but also the way it's treated. It's always kept aside for the gods. We hear a lot of people talking about the mismanagement. The university's mismanaging it, da-da-da-da. There's no question there is mismanagement. But the first thing I want to remind people is that the university is not lawfully allowed to manage what they're not constitutionally mandated to manage. And so BLNR is unlawfully delegating to the university the right to manage not only our land, but the people. And point to me where in the Constitution an educational institution is allowed to do that. And so what people need to really realize is it's not that the university is mismanaging it, it's that BLNR is allowing the university to mismanage it. So it's BLNR's job to manage conservation districts. It is not the university's job to do it. And that's why we have this jurisdictional confusion, which makes people, think that it needs to be managed. And also, I just wanted to point out that Mayor Kim was and the recent articles were talking about Mayor Kim's proposal is an offshoot of Kaikahele's proposal. But no, the truth is Kaikahele's proposal was a plagiarizing of our proposal, which is this document submitted in 2001, basically titled Mauna Kea, the Temple, Protecting the Sacred Resource. And it was submitted by the Royal Order of Kamehameha, Mamalahoa Helu'elua, which is the Hilo branch. And during this period of time, Uncle Paul Nevis and Uncle Genesis Liloy, Kaliko Kanaile, and many others were and are members of Royal Order, and also my organization, Mauna Kea Nainoho. We had spent over a couple years building support in the community for, and what this document is compiling the community's mana'o. But let me just get back to Kaikahele and the legislature, because in order to fix the management, there's just one thing that needs to be done, and that is, I'm not going to say just one, but the first thing we have to do is restore the right holders in positions of decision making, as opposed to giving the stakeholders the decision making. And let me just define what a stakeholder is, okay? A stakeholder is, remember in the gold rush in California, they said there's gold in them hills. So they all went out and they would drive stakes in the ground and say, in between this stake and this stake is my land. They didn't purchase it, they didn't own it, they just staked it out.
Their claim, right?
They claimed, it's their claim. And a right holder is the lawful owner of the land. And so even though the state claims to be the owner, they're the owner in that they are holding it in trust for the betterment of condition of Native Hawaiians and the general public. And that's what's established in the Admissions Act. So the right holders are the Kanaka and the public, okay? And that's the legal definition of a right holder. And so what this document does is shift and bring back not only the legality to the Mauna, but also restores balance. And so there were just this report looks real big. It's really, there's 30 pages of us laying out what some of the problems are, but then what the solutions are. And the solutions were really just, there's 3 of them. No further development, because the mountain has reached its carrying capacity. The second thing was to get the observatories to pay lawful rent. And what that really means is get the citizens of Hawaii from having to subsidize international astronomy. And really, righteously, by law, they're supposed to be paying. The law, HRS 171-17 and 18, pretty much explained that they need to pay fair market lease rent. And when we say fair market lease rent, what do we mean? Well, we know that we need to have auditors, or what do they call, accountants, to look at the value. But just say Yale University was willing to pay $11 million for so many nights on the telescope. And the last and final thing was that we needed a community-based management authority that placed right holders in positions of decision-making, not in advisory positions. Because and why that's important is because they created the Office of Mauna Kea Management to create the illusion that the right holders were in control. But if you really look at it, Native Hawaiians are in advisory positions, not in positions of power or the ones who are saying yes to this or no to that. And that's so that's why this report is important. And I do want to note that we have it on our website, the maunakeanainoho.org, and people can look at it. But this is 19 years old. Actually, we probably started 20 years ago, because we started compiling all of the mana'o collected from the testimony, because this came out as a function of us stopping the outriggers, the Keck and NASA outrigger telescopes, and also the university's introduction of the 2000 master plan. And so everyone was critical against us, saying, you guys don't have a better idea. And we said, well, yes, we do. And this is it. So this was our attempt. Now, a lot of people don't understand, we submitted this to lawmakers. We submitted this to all of the governors and mayors for Hawaii Island, and I'm pretty sure Mayor Kim got it. So one of the things that's so offensive is that he doesn't even mention this, as if it doesn't even exist. And so essentially the way I see it is, and the same thing with the legislature through Kai Kahele, what they did was they took a people's plan and they shifted it back and put the stakeholders in control again, which is the problem we're facing here. The stakeholders, it's the fox guarding the hen house. The university should be construed as a developer, not as someone to manage the mountain, and they have an internal and inherent conflict of interest.
Sure.
So,
does this contemplate how the people would be appointed to this body to oversee?
Yeah, and I would actually say that this document needs to be updated.
Yeah.
And I think the protectors would be the first to start looking at it and begin looking at how we would want to do things in the future. But the point of this report is that it resets the thinking on the right holder and the stakeholder, so that we're real clear who is a stakeholder here and who is a right holder, and who should have the first and final say. And that's international law.
Does this allow for telescopes to exist on the mountain, the ones that are there now? Does it allow for that?
Yeah. It does not seek to take anything down until the end of the lease. Yeah. And unless they are leaving, yes. Yeah. But see, the situation that we're in is, even when he suggests taking them down, where's the money coming from to take them down? That's just going back to our legal case regarding the bond. The whole purpose of having that isn't to just frustrate the situation, but is to put the situation back into real terms, so that the people of Hawaii are not subsidizing astronomy development. The legislature has been issuing money to support the TMT. Well, where's the money to support the protection of Mauna Kea? And that's why the rent is important here, is because that's how you pay for being able to protect the mountain itself. I think what needs to happen next is the real decision makers need to come, and that would be the TMT board or members of the board, and the executive director. No, not the executive director.
Not Ed Stone.
Not Ed Stone, but Henry Yang.
He's the chair of the board.
Yeah, he's the chair of the board. Yeah. I think the chair of the TMT board needs to come out here, and they need to face the people that they're actually threatening. I think people need to understand that despite the aloha that has come forward from many of the officers who are being put in the situation, the plain fact of the matter is the state has authorized the use of lethal force if we don't comport with what they say. And I know that might sound hyperbolic, because we have managed to raise the standard of aloha in this conversation, but the fact is we are still under threat. And we're under threat because some group of people in California want a project built on our mountain. And those people need to come here and face the protectors, sit down with them and listen to them and see their faces, because these are the faces of the people that they're willing to hurt, be it physically, emotionally, or spiritually. And if you want to do something, then have the intestinal fortitude to come here and to see the people you're willing to hurt. The people in California don't even live here. They don't even pay the taxes here. What are we doing? And so basically, I'm saying what comes next is we, the people, start looking at how we want the mountain to look for our grandchildren. And I don't care what the state and government want to do. I will say we're happy to invite the legislature to participate. I think Kai made big missteps, but if he wants to change his mind, that's fine too. But basically, the lawmakers and everyone here needs to recognize that Mauna Kea is a global issue, and it's time, and we're prepared to go out and start to gain greater consensus on this report. Let us look at the report as the baseline and move up from there. And so that's what I'd like to say. I'm totally disappointed in the mayor, but I hope if he calls me up, I'll send him this report and say, hey, Mayor, here's something for you to think about for real.